Hey you guys, this is Jess with Sourceful Journey, back with another video. I wanted to do a quick little chit chat with you guys, just really about why it's important to be careful with the company that you keep. Whether that's friends, family, and co-workers included. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and just jump right in. It is very important that you be very careful with the company that you keep, because in doing so, it leads to one having more of a peaceful life. So using the example in terms of co-workers, you only work with them for just so many hours per day or per week. So you're only able to see them in a limited form, right? But versus seeing them like for a full 24 hours or so, you don't get the full scope of who they truly are when it comes to being outside of the workplace. So who's to say that you're, thinking you're dealing with someone that's so sweet on the clock, but you may be dealing with a complete nut house that tends to be a bit manic when it comes to those within their household that no one knows about. Now, granted, everyone has a few skeletons in their closet, as the saying goes. I get that. And to each his own. Whichever battles they're dealing with on the home front, that's no one's business but their own. But the point I'm trying to drive home here is that, you don't fully know what type of individual you're dealing with. Hence is why I think there should be a bit of a dividing line, a bit of a limit when it comes to that notion of friend versus coworker. I think it's great when you can build such a great rapport with people, especially when you're on the clock with them, because again, a lot of people use the analogy that work or the workplace is like a second home. I think it's adorable, but let's be realistic about it here. You know the ultimate reason why you're there to work, and it's not just to treat it like it's home. It's there to be able to make an income, just so you can be able to continue to self-sustain outside of that workplace. No matter how you try to slice it, it just simply is what it is. You can simply have a love, a gratitude for what you do and where you work. That's all fine and well. But let us not lose sight of what our true intentions, our true reasoning for why we are in these different establishments. And alongside that, it should not be because it's like a second home. It's just, again, simply being what it is. It's just because it's a place of work. So the point I'm trying to drive home here is that there needs to still be some bit of a dividing line when it comes to those two areas when we talk about friendships in the workplace versus, again, just treating them just like your coworker. There needs to be no gray line there. It needs to be a line, clear as day, just a clear black line, if you will. I'm bringing this up because for the longest, I've always had this perception when it comes to that. I've always stood by it, and it's never led me wrong. As for my friend, on the other hand, she really wasn't that type of person. She actually felt that you could build such great friendships with a lot of people. I think she kind of went into it blindly. And I shared this with her. Everything I'm sharing with you guys, I actually shared with her. So we've had this conversation, and now that she's encountered this experience, and in reference to the co-workers that are part of this equation of what's going on in terms of the surveillance that's taking place on her site of work, she now understands why I have always been an advocate for there needing to be that dividing line between friendship and co-workers. It doesn't mean you cannot be pious with those you are working alongside with. It doesn't mean you cannot be nice to them. I think it's a beautiful thing when you can. But there's a point when you have to learn to cut it off and just reconnect the next day, plain and simple. And that, my friend, is a bit of a tough pill to swallow, but I think the more people actually apply it, they can then see the difference and truly appreciate it. And to, again, tie in the example with my friend who's going through this probate situation, she is now understanding the importance of that. You know, unfortunately, she's knowing this and learning this as far as the steps in applying this much later in life. Meaning like right now, she's learning how to take that approach now versus early on, she wasn't doing it. It's sad that it took this type of scenario for her to understand that, but you know, at least she has now captured it and she knows what she needs to do going forward when it comes to dealing with anyone on her work site. And that is all for today's video. What are you guys' thoughts about that when it comes to that notion of being careful with the company that you keep, whether it be family, friends, co-workers? How do you feel about that? Now, when it comes to co-workers, I feel like you have to be a bit more clear in terms of that dividing line. I stand behind that 100%. With family, it depends, because there's some who do have genuinely good intentions that are your family, but then of course, you know, there's some of those bad apples that may not have good intentions, and you have to know how to handle those accordingly, just based on your circumstances. Same can be said about friends. You know, you could have had such a strong bond with people who were your friends when you were much younger, but as time progressed onward, people tend to grow apart, or sadly enough, some, depending on where you are in terms of life, may feel a bit envious of you, and that can kind of cause a rift, which in turn can then make it very unclear on where that line should lie between you two. So really, it's more of a case-by-case approach when you think about that with family and friends, I would say. For some of us, like myself, I'll use myself as an example, I've had to do quite a bit of cleaning house, if you will. So for me, I have to laugh about it, because I've did quite a bit in terms of cleaning out the house with regards to what was once considered friends, family. Still have some family that I'm close with, but let's just say the number of those that I am okay with, I can literally count them on one hand. That's about it. And coworkers, friends, and coworkers for me do not mix at all. I'll be sweet as pie with you because we have to continue to work alongside each other on the shift, of course. And I'm all about the notion of remaining professional at all times. I truly stand behind that 100%. I'm not a cold person. I'm not very stern. Unless if the situation calls for it, rest assured in that. But when it comes to being buddy-buddy, let's hang out after work. Let's go have a few drinks with the rest of the crew. I rather we do any type of bonding, coworker activities when we're on site, where there's more people, rather than when there's only just a handful of us. I've witnessed some things, heard some things where stuff like that happened and it turned pretty ugly. And I refuse to be that one to be subjected to any of that nonsense. I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts about that, and give me some stories or some details of some scenarios where you've encountered this and where you've came to realize that to have that dividing line when it comes to friendship and being co-workers needs to be applied. You know, what are some things you've gained as far as knowledge, as far as wisdom from these experiences that you've had? Feel free to leave comments in the comment section below, or continue messaging me on the other platforms too. Also, emails. I do get your emails still. As you guys are seeing, I am responding to your emails, and the emails kicked up quite a bit. Oh my gosh, definitely keep that going. I love reading that stuff. So as for consultations, I do not have any more spots available. I did check, what time was that? It was around early afternoon today. It was like around 2 p.m. I did check. There are no more spots available for the week, but I do have some spots available for the following. So if it is something that is of interest to you, definitely take a look at it. And of course, if you have any issues with the link, we're still working on that in terms of the tech support. You could just reach out to me on the other platforms. Like maybe send me a message with your details, and I can always schedule you in. That's not a problem. So yeah, with that being said, I'd love to hear from you guys and know what stories you have to share when it comes to this type of topic. So in the meantime, definitely send some details over. And as always, I'm sending you guys with love and light. See you in the next video.